Good afternoon, Dr. Speece. I'll be giving my presentation from my TV. Hopefully, I'll be doing just a little bit of back and forth. Hopefully, it's not too distracting, but okay, here goes. So, good afternoon. My name is Jayla Manuel, and today I will be presenting my speech on why cheerleading is a sport. So, what is a sport defined as? A sport is defined as an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another team or for the entertainment of others. So when we think about a sport, what comes to mind? To some it may be baseball, to some it may be basketball, to some it may be football, swimming, track, whatever the case may be. But one sport that does not come to mind is cheerleading. And why is that? If we were to decide if cheerleading was a sport based off the definition I just gave, then yes, cheerleading would be classified as a sport with no problem. However, it's not that easy. There are some people to this day that still argue and disagree that cheerleading is not a sport. And as a cheerleader, I find this topic very touchy because I work hard for what I do. And what better way to enlighten others about my sport and what makes it a sport than with this presentation from a cheerleader's perspective, of course. So let's jump right into it. So let's talk about physical exertion. When you picture an athlete, you think of abs or a toned body, muscles, all kinds of things of that sort. Take a look at all of these pictures. These are some cheerleaders that I know and some cheerleaders I don't know. But what they all have in common is they all fit the athletic stereotype of what people think athletes are. And what makes it even better is all of these young men and women are cheerleaders. So the question is, how do these athletes gain muscles without performing tasks that involve a lot of physical exertion? We don't. We do not claim us being that sport that does the most as far as what football players do or what basketball players do or what track. We don't do what they do. However, there is certain training that is required for the skills that cheerleaders do perform, such as stunting and tumbling. Speaking of training, let's talk about skills. So cheerleading is a sport that gives you endless opportunities for growth and networking, performing, perfecting your skills, things of that nature. Some teams train more than others, however, but it's all based off of the philosophy: the more you train, the more you gain. So let's talk about gains as far as stunting and tumbling in cheerleading. So I'm going to explain to you a tumbling pass, and then I want you to see if does it seem easy or does it seem hard. So imagine being required to get enough height off the ground to straighten out your body, do a 360 spin twice in the air, and then land back on your feet. Sound easy? Maybe to some not. So I'm going to show you this video, and this is the same tumbling pass I just explained. Now, tumbling is not as easy as it sounds. Stunting is not as easy as it sounds. Stunts and tumbling that you may see up here and that you may see at a game can take anywhere from hours, days, maybe even weeks to perfect. I'm going to show you an actual stunt this time. And look closely. Stunts do not always end up being what they're supposed to be. Sometimes they can go wrong, and yes, that's okay. But what I'm trying to explain is, as skills get harder, your body control becomes more difficult, and you have to learn how to control your body when performing stunts and tumbling to be able to perform these stunts and tumbling at the highest level that they can be performed at. You have to learn the proper techniques and how to use your body muscles to perform the stunts correctly. Now, speaking of muscles, yes, cheerleaders work out and we work hard. I am a example, I am a witness, I am a living witness. Cheerleaders do work hard. No, we do not lift weights, but we lift something just a little bit more important than weights. We lift people. I myself am a flyer. So I get tossed in the air all the time, from libs to pyramids, what you may see right here, to toe touch baskets. I performed it all, and these stunts are not easy. No, cheerleaders do not lift weights again, but we do lift people whose lives are dependent on us. So lifting humans is not an easy task. You may have a flyer that is taller than you, shorter than you, thicker than you. It all just depends on their body type. But when basing, you are taught to lift heavy with your legs. So kind of like how bodybuilders are taught to lift with their legs when they're like lifting weights and things. You have to be fit enough to be able to perform the appropriate cheerleading tasks. And these tasks are far from easy. The hardest part is making them look easy, to be exact. Actually, yeah. The hardest part is making them look easy. With that being said, there are bound to be a lot of injuries or accidents that can occur when performing stunting and tumbling. So let's talk stats. A new report has revealed that 66% of catastrophic sports-related injuries among women in the U.S. are due to cheerleading. 66%. Cheerleading causes more serious and deadly injuries by far than any other sport. And some common cheerleading injuries can be anywhere from concussions, ligament sprains, fractures, wrist and elbow injuries, etc. I have been cheering going on 6 years now. And there is a list of injuries. I have had a fractured foot, dislocated elbow. I've had a neck sprain. CIAA was just 5 weeks ago, and I'm dealing with a foot sprain right now. So with that being said, all of these things explain the dangers and pains of cheerleading, of our beloved sport, because of the things that are required of us to be able to perform these stunts and tumbling at the highest level possible, along with being able to cheer as well. So in conclusion, cheerleaders put so much time and effort into a sport that does not get the recognition that it deserves. We train like any other athletes. We compete like any other athletes. We have to learn our sport to be able to perfect it and be the best at it, just like any other athletes. So I do believe that cheerleading should be considered a sport, and I think that others should see it as a sport, not just the stereotype of us being those prissy popular girls at school who just cheer on the sidelines to look cute. No, that's not what we do. That stereotype should be forgotten and implemented with the new cheerleading style and the hard work that we perform. Like, that should be implemented instead of the old stereotype. And that cheerleaders should be classified as athletes, and cheerleading should be classified as a sport. And on that note, I like to end with this quote. It's blood, sweat, and tears. It's sprains, bruises, and even breaks. It's work,